Have you ever been in a conversation that felt completely normal 1 second, and the next, you're drowning in an emotional tidal wave you never saw coming? You're talking about something simple, something mundane, what to eat for dinner, plans for the weekend, a minor disagreement about a movie, and suddenly, the entire atmosphere shifts. The air gets thick. You can feel the change before you can even process it. What started as a simple discussion has morphed into a high-stakes emotional drama, and you've been cast as the villain without ever seeing a script. You find yourself backpedaling, apologizing, trying to figure out what you said that was so wrong, so deeply hurtful, or so infuriating. You scan the last few minutes of conversation in your mind, searching for the misstep, the wrong word, the incorrect tone. But you can't find it. All you know is that you now feel guilty, or scared, or desperately anxious, and the original point of the conversation is completely lost. You're no longer solving a problem. You're just trying to survive the emotional storm. This experience is deeply confusing, and it leaves you feeling like you're constantly walking on eggshells, unable to express a differing opinion or a simple need without risking an explosion or a breakdown. This brings us to a critical and often misunderstood question in human relationships. How do you tell the difference between someone genuinely expressing their feelings and someone using their feelings to fight? How can you distinguish between authentic vulnerability and emotion that has been weaponized to control a situation, win an argument, or punish a partner? Because there is a profound difference. Genuine emotion invites connection and understanding, even when it's painful. Weaponized emotion, on the other hand, is designed to shut connection down. It's a tool used to create guilt, fear, or obligation, forcing you to abandon your own feelings and needs in order to manage theirs. To understand this better, we need to look at the patterns. These aren't just random mood swings. They are often unconscious, but highly effective strategies. Let's start with one of the most common and disarming types. We can call her the fragile victim. On the surface, she seems incredibly sensitive, gentle, and easily wounded. Her emotions are always right at the surface. The problem is, her hurt is deployed like a shield the moment she feels cornered, criticized, or accountable. Imagine you try to bring up a small issue. Say, you feel like she hasn't been helping much around the house. You say it gently, using I statements, doing everything you've been told is the right way to communicate. But instead of a discussion about household chores, her eyes well up with tears. Suddenly, the conversation is no longer about the dishes in the sink. It's about how you've wounded her. She might say things like, "I can't believe you think I'm lazy," or "I try so hard and you never see it," or the ultimate conversation killer, "I guess I'm just a terrible girlfriend." In that single move, she has completely flipped the script. You are no longer the person with a valid concern. You are now the aggressor, the one who made her cry. The tears become a smokescreen that makes the original issue disappear. Your brain, wired to respond to distress, immediately shifts from wanting to solve the problem to wanting to provide comfort. You end up apologizing to her, reassuring her that she's wonderful, and dropping your initial concern entirely just to restore the peace. The psychological genius of this strategy is that it uses guilt as its primary weapon. By positioning herself as the wounded party, she makes you responsible for her pain, effectively deflecting any and all responsibility for her own actions. Over time, you learn not to bring up any issues at all, because the emotional cost of making her feel bad is just too high. You start to silence yourself to protect her feelings, which, in reality, means you're silencing yourself to avoid being manipulated by them. Now, let's talk about the polar opposite of that energy, a pattern that uses a very different emotion to achieve the same goal of control. This is the sudden storm. While the fragile victim uses sadness to make you feel guilty, the sudden storm uses anger to make you feel scared. This is the person whose temper can flare from 0 to 100 over something shockingly minor. You might ask a simple question like, "Hey, did you remember to pay that bill?" And what you get back is a volcanic eruption. "Why are you always checking up on me? Do you think I'm an idiot? I have a million things to do, and you're hounding me about one stupid bill." The anger is disproportionate, sudden, and terrifying. It feels like an emotional flashbang grenade thrown into the middle of a calm room. The purpose of this explosion isn't to express frustration, it's to intimidate. It's a show of force designed to make you back down, retreat, and surrender immediately. It teaches you that questioning her, disagreeing with her, or holding her accountable in any way is an emotional landmine. So you learn to tiptoe. You avoid certain topics. You swallow your questions. You let things slide because it's easier than weathering the storm. Deep down, this isn't about strength. It's a tactic to maintain absolute control over the narrative. If you're afraid of her anger, you won't challenge her. If you won't challenge her, she never has to face her own shortcomings, admit fault, or compromise. Her rage creates a fortress around her, and you are conditioned to never, ever try to breach the walls. It's a brutal, effective way to shut down communication and ensure she always gets her way, because the alternative is facing a hurricane you know you can't withstand. It's control through fear, plain and simple. But there's a third pattern, one that can be even more unsettling because of its eerie quiet. It doesn't use tears or shouting. It uses the most terrifying weapon of all, absence. This is the silent punisher. This pattern emerges after a disagreement. Maybe you held a boundary, said no to something, or expressed a feeling she didn't like. The argument ends, but the conflict doesn't. Instead of yelling or crying, she withdraws. Completely. She stops talking to you. She'll be in the same room, but it's like you're a ghost. She won't make eye contact. She'll give one-word answers to direct questions. The warmth in the relationship vanishes, replaced by an icy, oppressive silence that feels heavier than any argument. This isn't just someone taking space to cool down. This is the deliberate withholding of connection as a form of punishment. The psychological mechanism here is profoundly powerful because it taps into one of our deepest human fears, the fear of abandonment. When someone you love withdraws their affection and presence, it triggers a primal panic in your nervous system. You feel disconnected, isolated, and desperate to fix it. The silence creates a vacuum of anxiety, and you'll do almost anything to fill it. You'll be the one to break, to apologize even if you did nothing wrong, to concede on the original point of disagreement, anything to get her to talk to you again, to look at you again, to bring the warmth back. The silent punisher knows this. She is using your need for connection against you. By making you experience the emotional pain of abandonment, she trains you to never cross her again. It's a cold, quiet form of dominance that can be incredibly damaging over time, because it forces you to choose between your own integrity and the feeling of being loved. These three patterns, the victim, the storm, and the silence, are different flavors of the same core behavior, using emotion not to connect, but to control. They are all different masks for the same underlying fear. And that's where we have to go next. Because these behaviors don't just appear out of nowhere. They are learned. They are survival strategies that were likely developed long ago in a context where they were necessary. So where does this come from? Often, the roots are in childhood. Imagine a family environment where emotion was a currency, and the person with the most dramatic feelings got their needs met. In a household with loud, chaotic, or emotionally neglectful parents, a child learns very quickly that being calm and reasonable gets you ignored. But crying gets you attention. Throwing a tantrum, that stops a fight between your parents, even just for a moment, as they turn to deal with you. Giving the silent treatment, that might be the only way to have any power when you feel completely powerless. In these environments, emotion isn't a way to connect. It's a way to compete. It becomes a tool, a lever you pull to make things happen. The child who masters this becomes the adult who instinctively reaches for the same tools when they feel threatened or unheard in their romantic relationships. The fragile victim may have learned that her tears were the only thing that could soften a harsh parent. The sudden storm may have been mirroring the only parent who ever seemed to get any respect. And the silent punisher may have learned from a parent who used withdrawal as a way to control the entire family's emotional climate. On the other hand, it can also be learned through reinforcement in previous relationships. If a woman discovers, consciously or not, that men in her life consistently fold the moment she cries, or back down the second she raises her voice, she learns that this is an effective strategy. The partner who says, okay, you're right, just please stop crying, is unintentionally training her. He's teaching her that her emotional escalation is a magic key that unlocks compliance. He thinks he's de-escalating a fight, but what he's actually doing is rewarding the very behavior that will make future conflicts impossible to resolve. He's buying short-term peace at the cost of long-term honesty. So over time, the weapon gets sharpened, not because she is a bad person, but because it has been proven to work. It becomes her default setting for navigating conflict. But here's the most important piece of the puzzle, the uncomfortable truth that lies beneath all of this. These displays of emotion, the tears, the rage, the icy silence, they look like power, but they are born from a profound sense of powerlessness. At its core, this is not a strategy of strength. It is a defense mechanism rooted in a deep-seated fear of losing control. For someone who relies on these patterns, a partner's boundary doesn't feel like a healthy expression of personal needs. It feels like a direct threat. When you say, I can't talk about this right now, or I disagree with you on this, or simply, no, she doesn't hear a partner with a different perspective. She hears, I am abandoning you. You are not important, or I am taking away your safety. Her emotional reaction is a desperate, panicked attempt to regain control of the situation, and more importantly, to regain control over you. By making you feel guilty, scared, or desperate for connection, she forces you back into a predictable role: the comforter, the appeaser, the one who surrenders. This restores her sense of emotional safety. It's a broken survival strategy. She is so terrified of being abandoned or invalidated that she creates a drama that forces you to prove you won't leave her, even if it means you have to abandon yourself in the process. It's a tragic cycle, because the very thing she does to secure the connection is the thing that ultimately erodes trust and makes true intimacy impossible. You can't be truly close to someone you're afraid of. You can't be honest with someone who will punish you for your truth. Understanding this is crucial, but it's only half the battle. Because for this dynamic to exist, it requires two people. One person who wields the emotion and another who reacts to it in a predictable way. And this is where the focus has to shift back to you. It's easy to point the finger and say she is being manipulative. It's much harder to ask yourself why you allow the manipulation to work. So now that you can see the patterns, let's ask the real question. Which one are you most likely to give into? Are you the person who can't stand to see a woman cry? Does the sight of tears immediately trigger your instinct to fix, to soothe, to apologize, even when you've done nothing wrong? If so, you are the perfect audience for the fragile victim. Your own discomfort with her sadness is the leverage she uses. Or are you someone who fears conflict above all else? Do you shrink at the first sign of a raised voice, willing to concede any point just to make the yelling stop? If so, you are a sitting duck for the sudden storm. Your fear of confrontation is her playground. Or perhaps you're someone whose greatest fear is being alone, being cut off. Does the thought of emotional distance create a frantic anxiety inside you, a desperate need to repair the connection at any cost? If that's you, then you will be completely vulnerable to the silent punisher. Your fear of abandonment is the very button she knows how to press. Recognizing your own pattern of capitulation is the first step toward changing the dynamic. Because here's the final, essential truth. Holding a boundary isn't cruel. Refusing to apologize for something you didn't do isn't unkind. Staying calm in the face of a storm isn't an act of aggression. It is a necessary step toward a more honest, more authentic, and ultimately more loving relationship. It is telling the other person, through your actions, I am here with you, but I will not participate in this drama. I will not be controlled by your fear. That is where true connection begins. I'd really appreciate it if you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell.